Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Happy, what is it, Wednesday? All right, here we go, midweek. So hopefully everybody's getting loaded this morning or unloaded and got your reload ready to go. Make sure you finish out that week pretty strong. So make sure you like, share, hit that, and subscribe. All right, we'll give it a few minutes for people to arrive and let's get this started. So today's topic is owner operator versus company driver. I have been in this ring before. Just very curious what everybody else has to say. Lewis, welcome, man. So here we go, guys. Just give it a few more minutes for people to show up and we will get started. Yep, make sure to drop those questions in the comments and we will get to them and answer every single one of them. Put in the comments there. Are you a company driver or are you an owner operator? Let us know. So we can kind of gauge like who's on here and see who's gonna win this, who's gonna win today's battle. Cover up my secrets. Right, we'll give it a few more minutes to get this going. And again, guys, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Every month, every day after 5 o'clock, we got videos coming out for owner operators, how to improve their business and run smarter for better profit. Again, so if you're an owner operator looking for some opportunities that will improve your situation, definitely give us a call, 863-342-5171. And keep an eye out for those videos. They come out every day, Monday to Friday. So subscribe to that Super Trucker podcast and make sure you're getting that content and get that in front of like-minded individuals. All right. For all those who just joined, please make sure you put in the comments: are you a company driver or are you an owner operator? What side of the ring are you on today? And before we get this going and discuss all the challenges and benefits of both sides, right? So we'll get into that today. What is up, LRM? I'm sure you're going to say owner operators are better, right? Oh, dang, look at Sam just out the gate with some questions. What is better for a company? Have a company trucks or owner operators? Hoorah. I'm gonna say owner operators. That's always a good model right there. I think to have it commingled is kind of a problem. I have been in those situations before where you have both some company trucks and owner operators, and then you're gonna run into some issues where who's getting the gravy loads, right? Because I think with company trucks you have a different approach where a lot of those companies are going to chase that dedicated stuff because then you can throw those company trucks at it, and so not necessarily it's slow and steady and so forth. And again, dedicated freight, lowest bidder won the rate. You're just making that kind of up in volume with your company truck. So it just depends on your model. But for me, I would say owner operator. Risk a little more, but the reward is definitely there. So I would go with that. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get this started. Today, that is the great debate. Is it owner operators versus company truck? So, which one is better? And let's dive right into that. So, is being an owner operator really worth it? It's going to depend on who you're asking and what they're looking for in the rewards, right? Comparing freedom versus stability. So, you're going to have pay structures, risks, and rewards. This is everything that you should be considering before you actually make that decision. Uh, we'll go over some myths, right? Where owner operators always make more money. So the reality is revenue is definitely higher, like that's for sure. But so are expenses. There's expenses to run a business, and you got fuel, you got tires, breakdown, insurance, taxes, and so forth. So there are expenses to run that business, and they do say like sometimes guys take less than a company driver, take less home than a company driver after expenses on certain weeks, but like not all the time, right? So you have to look at it holistically, uh, on the entire year, let's say, right? And then you're going to compare that. But are there tough times in business? Yeah, sometimes it's just going to hit the fan. So I don't know. Remember, I'm pro owner operator, so I'm already letting that out of the bag where I'm saying where I stand. But nevertheless, we are here to compare the two. So company drivers have no freedom. Well, some companies do offer that dedicated lane. You're going to get the home time, solid benefits, and they'll say without headaches. So that in itself comes with a certain freedom. But again, like let's unpack that a little bit, right? Because those guys that are looking for that dedicated lane, right? So somebody has to do that. You have to show up because if you're not doing the dedicated lane, that will get outsourced to somebody else, and the next carrier is going to scoop it up. So how free are you? You know what I mean? So in my mind, actually, you're a bit limited, and the headache is the limited growth to me, right? So that's what I would say. Um, you know, an owner operator is an instant boss. Yes, I would say I'm definitely going to agree with that because it's not just driving anymore, right? You're running a full blown business. You're negotiating rates. You're freaking chasing invoices, managing expenses. There's so much more on your plate than just driving at this point. So you're gonna have to consider all of those things before making it happen, right? So we'll jump into, you know, money talks. Obviously, that's why we're all here. Trying to improve that lifestyle, right? So, a company driver, some of the pros: guaranteed paycheck, no overhead, but you're capped. A con, you're capped on your income on what you can do, right? Even the hours of service. It's not like you can just do a double shift and so forth. You're going to be actually capped. There's no equity and you don't have control. I mean, you're there. You're obviously selling your time, right? So that's kind of like how I would look at it. But at the same time, you have no control. It's even if that work were to disappear, whatever it is that you were doing, your stability is now disrupted. So you're kind of in the same boat. It's only as good as it lasts. So and all of us here who've been in trucking for some time, we know that trucking, nothing's forever in trucking. It's going to always be changing. You have to adapt. You have to evolve. So that mindset has to be there anyway for you to have longevity in this game. So you got to consider all of that. Um, now let's talk about owner operators. So, pros: higher earning potential. That's for sure. But notice that it says potential because it depends how you show up and what's your mentality, what you came for, and how you're going to go get it is going to depend on that. You got some business write-offs, so all of that good stuff. I won't dig into much there. I'm not a tax guy nor a lawyer, so I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But you do have benefits. You can do a lot more things than a regular company guy. Okay. But it comes with that unpredictable income. So, but you do control a lot of it, even though it's unpredictable, right? Because you don't control the market, that's for sure. But what do you control is how hard you're running, or showing up, and how often you're out there. Your home time, your stability, your discipline to that is going to give you a lot more control over that magic number. So especially your relationship with your dispatcher, I know in our environment here, we're going to set that goal, right? And so if we're setting a financial goal for an owner operator, then at that point you do have some control. You may have to go to certain areas that you normally don't like to go to per se, but you know the end game, you understand the cash flow, you understand what it takes to stay in business. And so then the consistency is created on that end because that is now your priority. Your priority is to stay open and make sure that you're making money. Maintenance is on you, yes, that's for sure. But also with that is depending on the truck that you source, this can be controlled. This does not have to be as ugly as it sounds. A lot of guys that are doing preventive maintenance out there stay ahead of things. And so this isn't necessarily just a bad gig, right? One of the talking points that was here is like it asks like what's worse, making 1800 a week steady or 3500 with a $2,000 breakdown, right? So yes, breakdowns happen, but depending on the truck that you're sourcing and how you maintain it, they're not happening every single week. So yes, that does sound pretty shitty, obviously, 3500 and then a $2,000 breakdown. But let's like read between the lines right here. So 30 and 3,500 for 49 weeks, you're talking $170,000 of cash flow. So what about that? That's also a value add. I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there that could do something with that and make it happen. Obviously, there are expenses, yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, that's a way better position to be in. So something that didn't sound too gravy, all of a sudden, I got some people's attention. So here you go. It's going to depend on how you view things. Your responsibilities are different in as a company driver or as an owner operator. Um, so there's a couple things to consider right? So let's say owner operators, right? You got maintenance costs now. You're going to have IFTA reporting, insurance negotiations, permits, plates, fuel strategy. All these things are now on your plate and for you to tackle and to be effective at managing. So that in alone right there's probably some owner operators to be going like, damn, man, that's a lot of shit. Am I even up for that challenge? How much do I know about each one of those? But what I say is that entrepreneurial mindset isn't really looking at as a daunting task, right? Because now, what about some people like challenges? Some people like that pressure. What out of that list can you actually outsource? So, like, if now you can slice your business in different ways. So, like, let's say you lease on, right? And you're going to lease on to someone, and now you run under their IFTA. You run under their insurance, right? Let's say, the permits and plates are theirs. So all of a sudden your list got that much shorter, cut in half, and you're actually probably saving money and being more efficient, allowing you to focus on owner operator activity as far as, the driving and the meat and potatoes of it. And you're letting that back office stuff be handled by somebody different, and you save time and money because remember your time now is going to be money as that owner operator. So it's just how you view that, right? And if you're results driven and you look for solutions, you can find them. It's just a matter of doing that. As far as a company driver is going to just drive, take their breaks, make sure the hours of service are good on that, call dispatch with any kind of issues. um and I know there's more to it. I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying it or anything like that, but again, like to me, it's restrictive. Your responsibilities is definitely a lot less than an owner operator. We do have a question. Melvin says, and the accounts receivable. Yeah, for sure. That's another big boy. That in itself it is a tall task. So for sure you have to consider all of that before jumping in. So if we start in the beginning, the real debate, I guess, is not so much which one is going to be better because how much more money you're going to make, right? Not necessarily that. I think one of the biggest things that you should be asking yourself in the beginning is which one is for you. Like, let's start there, because once you select the proper one for you based on your characteristic and all of that, I think you're going to thrive, right? So, the question is, are you built for risk or stability? You really have to be honest with yourself, because owner operators live in a world of risk, even though the reward is greater. There's repairs, market, like there's crashes, fuel spikes. There's so much going on. Company drivers is just have that steady paycheck, but again, there's no equity, there's no ownership, and it's just more of what's your mindset. What kind of individual are you? Where do you thrive more? That's where I would really focus on before you start jumping into something like that. Um, do you want to drive or do you want to build? These are things that you have to consider, like driving versus building a business. Most owner operators, start to make more, but then realize that they also have to manage and negotiate. And so here you go. So if they didn't really consider their character and where they thrive and what their capacity is, some people have gotten into something. They bit more than they can chew, and they got a problem. So because it's difficult to pretend that you like to do that. You know what I mean? So you have to consider that. Not everybody wants that pressure. There's a lot of people that thrive in pressure. I mean, like, uh, some of your best work comes under pressure, and then for some people, that pressure is just going to break them, and that's where you have to consider, like, who are you, and where do you do your best work. Uh, All right, guys. So you have to be honest with that. Do you really want to run a business, or do you really want to just kind of have more people behind you helping you, and you're just kind of doing a job function on a daily basis? So you're part of this mechanism, and you're not necessarily running it on your own. All right. And so here you go. Please drop the comments below. Make sure they're coming in so we can get to them, and like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you put this content in front of other owner operators or truckers just like you. I'm sure they will benefit from this video. If not this one, we got plenty of content on our Super Trucker podcast videos that come out after 5. So make sure, Monday to Friday. So make sure you subscribe to that as well. All right, guys. So then, I think one of the biggest things is, like, identifying if somebody just wants control or they want comfort. Owner operators, they got routes to consider. They're gonna control where that truck is gonna go. Lanes, time off, all of that is going to be negotiated and in that person's control. A company driver, the dispatcher is going to tell you all of that. So the idea behind it is, eh, if I would ask you this, man. Like, if you're going to make the same amount of money, it doesn't matter which one you do, you're going to make the same amount of money. Which one would you pick? Would you want to be an owner operator, or would you want to be a company driver? So please, somebody give me an answer to that. Like, which one would you pick? Because I think that's going to speak volumes about your personality. I think, I still think there are going to be people that have that charisma and have that character, and want to thrive and be better, that are going to say, even if it was the same money, I would do it the owner operator way, because that means there's still going to be an opportunity to make more. It's still going to be there. There's going to be something else that can come with that. Like, every day you're building something, every day you're evolving. You're going to find a new way, a better way. There is a chance to do so. So I think it's that. I think that comes with very successful owner operators having that control, because that they're going to determine which one of those is the best fit for them. Um, you're always going to come into, and again, it comes down to, these are the questions that you should, your journey should start with this, I believe. So before you actually buy the truck and everything sounds gravy, give a carrier a call. Give us a call, 863-342-5171. Give us a call so we could talk details on what it takes to be successful. We're willing to share the plan of our successful owner operators and what they do to stay successful. All right, you get that one-on-one with us. Stop by the office. We definitely, make an appointment with us, and learn the ins and outs, and have a good conversation. So before you spend any kind of money on your journey. So the telephone number for that is 863-342-5171. And we get right to that. All right, guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We'll get some comments and questions that we've gathered up along the way. So they're very good talking points, and so we're just gonna kind of go over them with you. So here we go. Why do most owner operators end up broke? I want to say a lot of the time is because they didn't do this. I want to say they underestimated the effort it's going to take, the dedication, and the amount of shit you got to eat in order to be successful. I think that's one of the biggest things. Are things that happen out there like mechanical breakdowns, raids? Yeah. That stuff exists no matter what. But guess what? It's the same for everybody. So everybody's in the same market. Nobody has immunity to that. So you want to guys do go. Well, that's why they go broke. And I mean, think about it. Most businesses that people start, regardless of what industry it is, being an entrepreneur and opening a business, there's a very high failure rate. So why is a high failure rate within the first year is extremely high, and then you got within the 5 years, um, and it's because people people's mindset, people's willingness to do work, people underestimated something. Do they have the grit to sustain through? So I think it's more than just to blame rates, guys. It's or to blame the truck they bought. It's deeper than that. All right. um, how much do you really clear after expenses as an owner operator? I mean, you're going to hate my answer because the answer is really going to say it depends, because there's a lot of variables that come to it as you're opening your business and you're doing your homework. It's going to matter, man, on number one, what you're willing to do and get out of the market. It's very different for a guy that's going to say, man, I'm gonna run local and be home every night. Well, that guy's money looks nothing, nothing like the guy who's like, man, I'm gonna do what's necessary, hit, or do over the road. I'm gonna be out for 3 weeks, 3, 4 weeks, or whatever the case may be. So now that's polarized. You got two different outcomes. They both started on the same journey. They're both in trucking. They both own trucks, and just the outcome is really, really going to be different. So it just depends on you. So as a matter of fact, you can be a company driver right now and look to your left, and my man right there is making different money than you are. Somebody in that company, as a company driver, somebody at your organization is making more money than you because they're willing to do more, and somebody's making less because they're willing to do less than you. So that is your reality. I think you have to have some ownership into what you're willing to do, and then you can start calculating something like that. But then also, what type of equipment did you buy? MPG, insurance, know your cost, how you're set up, what you're leveraging to other people, kind of like what we talked about before, the IFTA. Melvin mentioned the factoring. All of these bits and pieces of the business, are going to influence what's going to be left. So here you go. Isn't $3 a mile useless if your cost is 285? Yeah, of course. But here we go. So yes, of course. However, the real question is, for anybody with an operating cost at 285 a mile, that's your problem. Why the hell is it so high? So you have to visit that. You have to unpack that. You have to see how you can set up yourself to do better business. Like at 285 is extremely difficult to make any kind of money. But that's the real challenge, right? So you can't just expect that the rates are going to go to $5 a mile so that you can have a decent, run. So that's not the situation. So boom, ownership. You view things different. You tackle things different. So here you go. So yeah, that is useless. But at the same time, what's not useless is you got to look under your skirt and see what time it is, because why the hell is that so high? Why just not stay a company driver and stack steady checks? I mean, you can do that. That's a choice, that's for sure. I don't know. I'm just a believer. Like, there's one thing you can't buy, my man, and that's time, right? So that's it. You can't buy time. So I don't know. Do I believe in saving your way into financial freedom? I don't know, man. That takes a long time, right? Especially freaking inflation and all that, and nowadays. However, what's your ROI as an owner operator? So you're taking risk, and if you can And if 2 years you can make more than would have took you 6 years to save, you condense that to 2 years because you took a chance. I think that's a healthy place to be, man. That's so you can, again, goes down to personality. Who are you? Some guys like to do that, and other guys want to risk the biscuit, as they say, right? So it just depends for how you're going to do it. Why fuel cards and factoring companies just new age loan sharks? I wouldn't. No, not necessary. I think they're a necessary evil, and the reason I go by that is because, like, so you're here to run a business, right? And capital is king. So again, you need capital to create cash flow. So even if, let's say, we're talking about what's let's say the factoring, right? Let's say you want to do it all yourself. Okay. Can you sustain your new business on the net 60, and that, what some of these guys are ridiculous and maybe even higher than that, right? And not only that, there's going to be some issues. So can you sustain getting started and not seeing a paycheck for how long? So even if you're paying a factoring company 2%, you're creating a cash flow to your organization to reinvest and to keep the ball moving. That is the name of the game. So why not? Like, what's your alternative? Out of business? So you have to keep it moving at whatever cost. You can do things later, get bigger, get stronger, renegotiate that rate with that factoring company. On that fuel card, you could renegotiate that as well, get higher, better savings, but you got to get there first, right? You have to get there. And the only way to get there is to use these kind of tools that are in front of you in order to have that sustainability. In a perfect world, would it be better not to? Yeah, 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 for sure. But business is going to be complicated. It could get messy. You just got to be willing to play in that, in that chaos, if you will. All right. What's the point of owning a truck if I'm making less than a company driver? We just kind of talked about that a little bit before. Like, how often is that happening? You know what I mean? There's upside to things, right? You're building some equity, sell that truck at the end, the trailer, if that's your exit plan. Because I have seen guys that come into this market and they got a 5-year plan. Man, they take everything they can from this business and then they're out and sell the truck, sell the trailer, and then that's it. And now they have startup capital to go do something different. But they come correct, they come serious, and they make it. So you do have those guys that are kind of transient in this business that do so, and they make it's a good industry to step in, and you can start generating revenue like right away. Like, I can't express how much value that is to an owner operator. Um, let's say you're an owner operator, right? And yeah, I don't know, you're running local, I guess, right? And let's just say that bad boy, your truck's in the driveway. Well, at the end of the day, you got a business in your in your driveway right now. You need more cash. All you got to do is pack that bag, get in that truck, and and as quick as tomorrow, you're in Georgia and other places, and you're multiplying your cash flow. You're going to gross twice as what you're doing now. You have that power in your driveway, and I don't know if a lot of people realize that, right? As long as you're not stuck on the limitation of, how I only want local, I only want local. So as long as you have that business mindset and open to it, you have that growth. All right. Um, why are so many owner operators living load to load? Um, I'm gonna say, man, it's bigger than just the industry. It's the same reason why a lot of employees live check to check. It's the same reason that a lot of Americans are $1,000 emergency. A lot of people can't even sustain that. So it's not just that, it's behavior, it's financial literacy, it's just because it's more money and you have bad habits, you just got nicer shit, but you're still in debt. So it's organizing yourself, it's running your household like a business, it's putting away for a rainy day, it's called keeping it sustainability. All of that comes to that. It's not just truckers live load to load, there's people living check to check all the time. And so, what makes the difference there? You know, you just have somebody making $90,000 a year, and he's more in debt and more broke than the guy making 55 who played it conservative and has and doesn't live beyond his means. So there's more of a mentality to that. You know, there's no guarantee that you're just going to have financial freedom just because you're a company driver. It's what are your habits, right? Okay. So is leasing a truck a trap or a smart entry? We've done a few videos on this. I think leasing could definitely be an option as long as the terms are favorable. You know, and it's a good way for somebody with that entrepreneurial spirit to get out. There you go, LRM Trucking. They got the lease to purchase there. You know, and they have the trucks, and the barrier to entries on to get on board. You know, they might be a little bit softer than other places, which I don't know, maybe means your monthly payment is a little bit higher. But again, it depends on your position, and that is a value. It just depends on your purchasing power. That you know, you really got to look at yourself and see which one of those is going to serve you. And once you have it, what are you going to build with it? That's the key focus, right? What can you do with it? So here you go. Uh, how do you make real money if you're always fixing your truck? So that kind of starts in the beginning, man. That kind of starts on the truck that you're buying, right? I've had people buy, you know, a freaking million miler, right? Things got a million miles, rebuilt engine. They got the paperwork on it. Why are you doing that? And then you're always fixing your truck. So that starts when you're making that decision. So as a business owner, I believe that you should be looking for that, you know, weaponize yourself with a really good truck that's going to be good for business. You know, it's going to get really, you know, low miles, preferably somewhere in the threes. So there's plenty of meat on that bone. Does it come with some kind of warranty? You know, and also you don't want to get caught up in buying, you know, I see guys buy like a 98, let's say, and they buy so they can be immune from e-locks, you know, because they have the exception. But not a lot of carriers do that. So by becoming the exception, you actually limited the ability of where you can take your truck. So now let's say a carrier has a pretty good package that you want to take advantage of, but they're not willing to play that game. Now you just limited your business. So again, so those are kind of the things that we see, or I find these guys buying, you know, they bought it off of a buddy, some truck with a million miles, and all they got to do is throw $10,000 into it, and then it'll be that perfect truck. Man, I see it time and time again. Like you don't want to be in that position because you even forgot what you came for. How can you focus on rates, lanes, insurance? You know, everything else that comes with trucking if you don't even trust the truck to get to Georgia, like you got a problem. Just keeping local isn't going to solve a problem for you. So you want to make sure that when you source the truck, you've done your homework, and you want to make sure you're getting the best truck that your money can buy. That's the key. Don't overextend. Get the best that your money can buy. Don't get away, you know, don't get that perfect truck, long nose Pete, you know, 4 miles to the gallon. Yes, man, it looks good. Yeah, but it's probably not the best thing for you to be doing. All right. Uh, is being a company driver just playing it safe because you're scared? Nah, not necessarily. Like we talked about before, I think personalities are going to come into place. You know what I mean? You know exactly what type of environment you need in order to excel. We're not all the same. It's going to be different for everybody. You know, even when it comes to dispatching, like check this out, man. So for example, you know, a dispatcher at Voyager Nation, right, is a certain breed, right? Uh, definitely wolf pack mentality. We keep we keep each other accountable. They're always striving for more as competition, and always helping each other out. However, the difference is compared to some company that dispatches company trucks on dedicated freight, that guy's a load planner in our eyes, right? He may call himself a dispatcher, but in our world, that's a load planner. That personality, he's solving different problems. He doesn't know really how to negotiate with a broker and take a punch and say no to a load and risk it and find a better one because he's searching, calling 30, 40 brokers in order to find the best load for that one truck. that's too chaotic and messy for that individual, man. It's gonna it just scares the shit out of him. So, and some guys come in, they'll thrive, but it's gonna be based on them. So they could be a really good load planner somewhere. It doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna be a really good dispatcher. That's two different outcomes. So again, it goes down to personality, um, and what's going to be good for you. Uh, how many of these owner operators even know how to negotiate a rate? Oh man. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because the beauty about it is that you can outsource it. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be an expert at everything. You can actually get a quality dispatcher. So even owner operators who, or guys thinking of becoming an owner operator, um, if we got the dispatchers that can hit. They do that. They do all of that for you. They're calculating what you're going to be grossing at the end of the week. They're going to be understanding to the home time. They're packaging all of that up, and they're running that portion to you. They're presenting quality loads. So you're meeting your goals. You're getting that gross income necessary. You get the cash flow in order to have your business thrive. So why not outsource that? So that's not everything. You don't have to be the expert of everything to be an owner operator. You just got to identify what your strong points are, and you got to be conscious to do a gut check every now and then. You got to have comparables. Make sure that you're getting the best rates. That is your homework. So can you do better? And that comes through conversation. Make sure you're talking to your dispatcher and say, hey, who's the highest earner on your board? And how do I compare to him? How far off am I? And now you're educating yourself a little bit about that, right? And what can you do that's different? And maybe perhaps it'll give you a string of ideas for you to improve your business. That's what this is about. One of the best things that can happen out there in that room is an owner operator just lets the dispatcher own it, and he just books loads. I would say definitely, if you can, if you're questioning that, are you getting the best rates, and you want to improve your outcome, let the dispatcher do his thing for 2 weeks, and then you compare results, your current results with the results of giving him less resistance to everything. So now you have two different outcomes. Compare the two. Which one is working better? I know for sure, hands down. If you were to do that here, your outcome would definitely improve. So consider that. And if you are considering it, it's 863-342-5171. Let's talk about that. Uh, can you survive without a dispatcher holding your hand? I mean, there's guys out there dispatching themselves and all of that, but it's daunting, man. Like I think you can only probably do that for some time, especially in a good market. And it's not even that you're extremely like just winning at that point. I think in a really good market, anybody could book a load because they're all good, right? So that's that. And then it doesn't mean you're not leaving money on the table. So you got to be cautious of that. But when it gets a little bit tougher, that's when the gloves come on, gloves come off rather, right? So you want to make sure that you're good with that. All right. If a company driver clears 1,800 a week with no stress, why switch? Because that's a comfort zone. That just may not be enough for other people. Other people is not necessarily the 1,800, but it's what they're building. The ability to get 2, 3 trucks. Everybody's goal is a little bit different. That may sound very complacent to someone. That may sound like low hanging fruit for a lot of people. So you really have to gut check what is it that you want. All right. So just because it's better for you, it's not going to mean that it's better for everybody else. You have to understand that, before you get started. So once you're starting, identify, what the main goal is. Who's got more freedom? The guy with no truck note, or the guy who can pick his loads? Good question. I don't, so here's the thing, man. Like, I think it's okay to have a truck note. I don't think anybody should be really scared of that. If your truck note is somewhere averaging between that 16 to $1,800 a month, like I think that's just normal to do business, because what you get with that is reliability. You're getting a truck under warranty. Let's say you have a piece of equipment that's reliable. So that's just a cost to do business. Because even if you paid that truck off, let's say, how many miles are on it now? And now the breakdown start and all that. And just because there's no truck payment, I don't think that's enough to retire. I mean, we're talking 20,000 a year. Like that's not. I don't quite think that that's enough to retire off of. And it starts slowly, man. Like I see it happen all the time. It's like a slow death because just because there's no truck payment, guys go, let's say, 6 months without nothing, no major thing, and then all of a sudden, bam, six, seven, $8,000 repair, and they struggle to. They don't want to let that bad boy go. They want to hold on to that truck, but it's costing them money, and at some point, it's going to be you got to let it go. So let's say by the second repair, you're letting it go, but now you're 13,000 in the hole. And so whatever you're going to sell that truck for, you're just trying to even out on that, on trying to keep it alive. So I don't know. I would say don't fear that truck note as long as it's reasonable based on what the work you're doing and your work ethic and so forth. I wouldn't necessarily fear that. So that doesn't just mean you're free. Now you're free to go do the maintenance on it and make sure it stays alive. So I don't know. Food for thought on that one. And the guy who picks his load, it just depends, man. Are you even good at it? Ask yourself, right? I would always ask, like, who's making more money than me? And, hey John, good morning from Cocoa Beach. Here we go, Florida, Florida. So I would consider all of those things. Just if you're good at picking loads, what comes with that. And if you've never done it, then I wouldn't say you're good at it, right? You got to be able to really dissect your ability to do work. So if you've never done it, you want to start slow. I would say you link up with a company just like Voyager. A ride side saddle with the dispatcher. He's engaging with you. He's communicating with you. He's explaining raycons. He's explaining why he's doing what. You're going to catch on to a trend. You're going to see the outcome every settlement check, and then here you go. So that's how you start educating yourself. I think in this business you can actually you know walk the path and go learning. You know what I mean? You either choose to learn or you're just kind of there. But I would say that. So who has more freedom? Um, I don't know. I don't know. You don't want to get too lost in that freedom, man. Like that freedom is not everybody can handle freedom. That's the unfortunate part. We are in the people business, and so freedom comes where like freedom to do what? Stay home and generate no revenue. So now, or you leave on a Wednesday, come back Friday, and repairs are going to happen. So just because you don't have a truck, though, doesn't mean that a repair won't happen. And so now there's not enough cash flow to sustain that. So it's like a snowball effect, and it's these little silent killers that happen, and you don't really understand how it happened, but you end up in these places. All right. Uh, why are so many owner ops going back to being company drivers? And again, goes back to that. I think people underestimated it, and they come to find out that perhaps their personality is going to be better over there, or maybe they didn't do enough homework to buy the appropriate truck. I see that happen all the time. Like, listen, you can be a really, really great company driver, the best company driver there is. It doesn't automatically mean that you're the best owner operator. These are apples and oranges. They're two separate entities, two separate things. So you have to weigh out, all the checks and balances before you jump in. So why do people end up going back? Because of bad choices. It's, I wouldn't tell the rest of the community that it's because of the rates, because there are plenty of people who are not failing. There are plenty of people right now that are being successful. And if they would just do what they're doing, then they'd be all right. But let's say he can't do what he's doing because he didn't follow protocol and he bought a truck off of somebody for 10 grand, and that shit needs 20, $30,000 worth of repair, and you thought you were going to do it slowly, and now you're not in the same boat. So you didn't position yourself enough to be successful. You were trying to save money at where you shouldn't have. There's other places to save money. You should have got the best truck that money could have bought, right? So now 10 grand, boom, call a lease to purchase, like these LRM guys, or like Lone Mountain, $6,000. You're buying something with 300,000 miles, 1,600 a month. You're in a such better position at that point, and you still have money in your pocket for an incidental. All right. So consider all of that, right? It's the choices that we make that lead up. So cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. Um, uh, is your family suffering while you build a business? I mean, it doesn't matter what business you're gonna go build. Like, go build a restaurant, and you're still not home. Like, are they suffering? I guess, but at the end of the day, like, you can also take care of them. So what about that? Let's talk about taking care of them. So again, guys, it's going to be dedication to that. I think something like this, like, uh if this is a big factor, then this guy should probably be a company guy. You're definitely counting the cost, um in my opinion there. All right. uh if your truck breaks down tomorrow, what's your backup plan? Yeah, I mean, there's been several guys that try to have some backup plans, like, hey man, I'll rent a truck and keep it moving. Yeah, that sounds good, gravy, cute, but what happens is renting a truck is not that easy. Are you even going to make some money doing that, right? So that wouldn't be a good plan. However, having that maintenance reserve, like that's an extremely good plan, where the cash is there because you can solve a lot of problems. I got this story. One of our guys worked, that was an owner op. Uh, Unfortunately, had an accident, and this is, where was it, man? Maybe Georgia. I don't recall. Maybe it was Georgia. Yeah, Georgia, because it was Low Mountain. So Georgia. So a guy has an accident. Boom, truck's probably going to be total loss and so forth. Man, and he's under a load. He actually gets, like, sells that truck, total loss, blah blah blah, takes the money, walks into Lone Mountain. My man gets another truck right there, credit, everything is in place. What we do is we transfer, send him a box, and it has our decals. Now he's our guy already. He's leased on. He's authorized and everything. But in that short time period, was able to just make that decision. No fucks given. He wasn't trying to save a truck that had no saving. Boom, gets rid of that truck, has money in the bank, gets another truck from Lone Mountain, puts decals, we send him, all that good stuff, new permit book and all of that, and then all of a sudden he's under a new truck but delivering the same load he was on. So he was able to do that in 2 days. So my man stayed ready. Like, that's what it was about. Like, that's the point of that story. He stayed ready, where now, like, he resolved his own issue. There are not a lot of people that can do that. um we even have a video out there where, one of our guys, just, girl, man, more power to him. If you're watching, brother, man, like, hell yeah, he does it right. His truck was getting old, nothing really major on it, but it's just time to walk away. She's getting old. Boom, steps into a place. I'm not trying to put his business out there, but, you know, walks into a place, says, "Hey, give me that purple one," and bada bing, no truck note. Homie did it in cash, and and the ability to do that is because he stays ready. He prioritizes, keeping his business afloat, because the business is what gives him the cash flow to have a certain lifestyle, to have nice things and so forth. But you understand that this truck is the vessel to your business. It's the office, it's the heart, it's the brain, it's the thing of everything. Without a truck, you can't do anything. So why not take care of the biggest asset to your company, that truck? With, if the truck don't work, your cash flow stops immediately. You're done automatically. That breakdown, anytime that thing breaks down, it will hemorrhage money out of your organization. You are bleeding money, like, right away. So it costs you money to just have it parked. I never even understood that. There's a lot of owner operators who say, "Hey man, I'll park my truck until better times." I don't know. I don't really understand that, nor do I agree with that. And maybe that's another video. Put it in the comments below if you've done that before. Why do you think it was a good idea? How did it work out for you? I just think you're going to be behind the curve on something like that, right? So if you're waiting for that market to get a little bit better, and then once it does, man, you're barely getting that parked truck running and going while somebody's already reaping the benefits. So So I don't necessarily think that's a good plan, but if you've done that, hey, put it in the comments below. Let's talk about that. And how did it work out for you? So I'd be interested to see how that worked out. All right, give me a second here. All right. All right. So there we go. So even that, even guys that walk away, man, like this is pretty interesting. This right here, this is a comment of a certain guy. He actually he actually walked away from trucking. Let me tell you, man, like this is why you can't just why reporting is so important, and you just can't fuck around and think nothing's gonna happen. All right, so this guy gets hit with $10,000 in fines based on his audit fee from IFTA. So let me read it to you. Had my own authority for a while. Eventually closed it down for 100 different reasons. 1 year after, that's 1 year after this guy closes, I closed my trucking business and shut everything down. I received a notice from an audit for IFTA. I sent everything they are asking, and it got quiet for a few weeks. Then they hit me with a fee for 10 grand. I had my fuel card skimmed at the pump and was robbed for $700. So they said I used fuel in Texas and didn't report it. I never been to Texas, so I didn't report it. Next one was I had a few debit card transactions for fuel and didn't do a great job of keeping those receipts. Okay, my fault. So my MPG on my report was all off. The report I sent in was missing dates because of the file was too large and it didn't send all of it. Literally, it's a bunch of BS out of all the hundreds of thousands of companies come mess with me. I'm one truck that closed his business over a year ago. All right. So boom. So yes, why you out of 100 businesses? Because I'm pretty sure you're downplaying your reporting. So man, like this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is why people should also leave this stuff to the people, to the experts, let's so to speak, right? So a carrier does not want to be in this position. So imagine that, like this is one truck. Um, that's just one truck. Imagine a fleet of 50 trucks. How big is this bill? So those are the things you have to consider. Like here's the reporting. Like something that seems so simple in the moment that this guy was there operating, and he's like, that's enough, that's enough. He downplayed the reporting, and now it's real, right? So if he was able to walk away with some kind of money, it's already gone. He's spending money that he doesn't have because he wasn't diligent at reporting. I highly doubt that this is because of one $700 fuel up, right? Just he's probably cooking the books on that, trying to get a refund on IFTA. Yes, there are people that can make that happen, but what's the reward? This, you get this kind of shit, right? So again, I think it's easier to be paying your IFTA correctly. Don't be fudging those numbers. Even if it's 200-300 bucks every quarter, you'll be all right. You'll survive. Cost of do business. But even if the guy was saving $300 a quarter, let's worst case scenario, 300 bucks, right? Like that's worst case. If he's a hard runner, um, you're talking 1,200 bucks. So to save 1,200 bucks, my man right here is spending 10,000. Like, do not become this guy. Like, let's learn from this. I'm not knocking this dude. I'm just saying, don't be that. Don't let this happen to you guys. All right, so we got a guy right here, M&A Club, company driver, flatbed, and step deck. Plan on making the jump after I save at least 50K. All right, so here we go. So I know in the comments before we had, we got some people that have been doing flatbed. There's a guy named David. I don't know if he's on there or watching. David, my man right here. Maybe y'all can link up, talk about it. He can give you a couple pointers. Maybe do some business together. Who knows? So just line up people that are in that business and get as much information. He might even have a trick to the trade where maybe you need only 25 and your journey could start a little bit sooner just by leasing under someone. So who knows what can come of it? Guys, make sure you have a conversation. Take what serves you, and hopefully, hopefully you can get you going a lot sooner, brother. More power to you. Follow that dream and make that happen, man. Just stay diligent about that. Okay. All right, guys. So at least if these guys hook up, that's a good thing. That's what this program is about: putting good information in front of good people. Because the trucking community needs that, my guys. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. Remember, Monday to Friday, we got videos come out after 5 o'clock. Make sure you're subscribed so you're getting that content. It's extremely valuable, especially for owner operators, first time owner operators. And if you're looking to make an improvement in your from your current situation, definitely give us a call. It is 863-342-5171. My people, be safe, stay earning. We will talk soon. All right, be good.